Hi, my name is Murtaza Haider. I am the Associate Dean of Graduate Programs at the Ted Rogers School of Management. And I'm here with Steven Kavaratzis, who is a PhD scholar and working on his doctorate with us. And Steven, I understand you're working on pandemics?
Syndemics.
Syndemics. Okay, so this is Syndemics. And he also told me that there is no yet vaccine for it. What is it?
So Syndemics came from this idea of wellness and illness only being studied in isolation. So we would look at one illness at a time and really focus on understanding that. And it failed to grasp how illnesses and positive mechanisms interact. So if two illnesses are the reason one of them is really bad and we only are looking at one, we fail to understand the system entirely.
Okay, so how do you apply it to your doctoral studies?
Of course. So Syndemics theory and research started looking at minoritized populations that were especially impacted by specific epidemics, and what they noticed is that there were pooling effects that happened with things like HIV and violence and substance use and socioeconomic status. And when they looked at each of those things in isolation, they didn't capture the pooling effect of how one illness exasperated and influenced the other. So fast forward, a lot of that research that Meryl Singer and their colleagues did started to get applied to workplaces to understand how things like intersectionality and working conditions, how they influence one another and create exponentially more problematic or complex situations and systems. And in the past, a lot of these metrics or outcomes have been studied in isolation of one another, and therefore Syndemics research argues that when we study it by itself, we fail to understand the entire system.
Okay, so we understand now that the approach is to look at everything, and now we're looking at everything. And how does it help people?
What I think is really exciting about some of the research that I want to do is looking at it from a conservation of resources perspective and looking at what's referred to by Hobful's research as resource caravans. And that says that when positive effects caravan onto one another, they pool their effects and they have exponentially more effective results. Now, just as Syndemics research has looked at negative effects and how they pool, there's new research that's starting to come out called counter Syndemics and looking at how positive resources can pool collectively in certain circumstances and counter the effects of a syndemic.
Where are you in your PhD right now?
So I finished all of my courses. What was really exciting about the PhD in management at TRSM is that because I was interested from my master's here in multidisciplinary research, the program and its faculty have supported me in doing courses in collaboration with the psychology department, with the nursing faculty, so that I could develop a well-rounded scope in health population research. Now I've finished my research proposal and I'm just in the final edits and gearing up to defend it.
Who will be your subjects for this study?
I'm looking at a very broad scope of employees across multiple organizations in North America. So I'm planning to cast a wide net so that I can get a high sample so that I can ensure that I'm representing a variety of people. And my goal is to represent populations that have pooling intersectionality identities.
So tell me about your experience at Ted Rogers. I mean, you've been here as a student. I recall you were in my class.
Yeah.
You had, I think, 1 or 2 classes you've taken with me in research methods. You've been here, you're part of the cohort. How does it feel? What are the good and bad things about doing a PhD at Ted Rogers?
I have nothing but great things to say. It's been incredible. I'm really grateful that I've had the opportunity to take a variety of methods courses, and I think it's prepared me well to be able to contribute to mixed methods research. That's something that I think I'm the most excited about, instead of just kind of hitching my horse onto one methodology. I think it provides a lot of strength, which is fantastic. The courses were great. It went by very quickly, but I think some of my favorite courses were the methods courses because I feel like my master's gave me a really strong grasp of multi-dimensional well-being, and my PhD allowed me to explore a variety of different methods to understand how I can measure certain concepts and also develop a clear and strong theoretical framework to explain why we're demonstrating the results we are.
Do you find there's enough peer support in the program, and do you find that there's enough institutional support for a new PhD program, especially the first few cohorts that you're part of?
Absolutely, and I think that there's a strength in what some might label a weakness of this idea that you're going through something that not a lot of people have finished yet. So you kind of get to make the rules with your supervisor and faculty and peers, which is exciting. So my comprehensive exam, for example, I developed the entire reading list myself with my committee.
So last question, people who are watching and want to do a PhD in management, what do you want to tell them?
I would say the best thing you can do is contact some of the faculty that their research excites you the most and meet with them and meet with their students as well, because then you'll get a good idea of what it's like to be a PhD student here, what it's like to work with that faculty member, and just go for it, because you're going to be impressed and amazed by how much you'll grow personally, professionally, and you'll develop this keen and critical eye to look at the world in a new way.
Excellent. Folks, this is our conversation with our PhD students, and today we learned about Syndemics. We'll continue our conversations with the PhD students. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for having me.